Liftoff and the clock has started.
Vier. Drei. Zwei. Eins.
Goal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show with me, Richard Vobes. Very nice to see you here on the 27th of September 2021 at 8 o'clock UK time. I've managed to get out of my pinstripe suit, shall we say, my arrow suit, and have dressed up in normal clothes. Well, normal to me, probably not so normal for you. And here we are again on another Vogue show. Welcome aboard. It's lovely to see you. Thank you very much to all those people who wait in advance and are already in the chat room when we do the show. That's fantastic. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for coming. We'll do a roll call a little shortly, if that makes English. I've discovered, and I don't know how long it's been there. It's probably been there for donkey's years, but I've only just discovered there is a poll. Not by a poll, I mean someone from Poland. I mean a question that I can ask, as in a voting poll, and you can vote. And I see some of you have already seen it. Do you want more shows this week? And the only reason I ask that is I, as you may already know, having to, on Her Majesty's government's dictation, on her mandatory isolation from the public, government mandated imprisonment is what it is. I know it has this name, self-isolation, which is almost a nice name, but it's not really even nice. It's a sort of fairly meaningless thing, self-isolation and all of this. It's actually government-mandated imprisonment. That is what it is. They rang me today to say, are you continuing to self-isolate? And I said, what do you mean? You need to tell me what you mean. Well, you mustn't leave the house. So I said, do you mean my government-mandated imprisonment? They said, well, self-isolating is what we call it. Yes, it's against the law for me to leave the house, though, isn't it? Yes. So that is government-mandated imprisonment for doing nothing, ladies and gentlemen, for doing nothing. My error was I happened to be in a room with somebody else who the following day tested, self-tested a PCR test for no reason other than they had to go to a place every morning. I'm being as discreet as I can about this. And they had to do this test because otherwise they couldn't go to this place. And they came positive in this test. And as a result of that, because I was in a room the night before with them, I have been scooped up in this government-mandated imprisonment. Now, I'm sure that this will not go on my record of having to go to prison, but it is, in fact, imprisonment. And I know other people have done it, and it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing. I can cope with it. I'm a big boy, and people have been very kind. I'm going to talk about that a bit later on. But it really brought it home this morning, I think, when I was chatting to somebody, my jailer, effectively, who said it is against the law if you leave the house. And that told me all I needed to know. This wasn't sort of advisory. It wasn't that we would like you to do it, we advise you to do it. It's necessary. It is against the law for me to leave the house, as anybody who's doing this, and I'm not making out that I'm a victim of any more than the next person who has to do this, but I'm calling a spade, and that's what it is. And I can't quite understand how we got into a situation in which people who have not done a crime can go to prison with a government-mandated imprisonment on their head. It is a very strange time. And, of course, because I can't go out and I can't leave, while there's lots of things I can get on with, I mean, I thought today, I could paint the stairs. My stairs don't have a carpet on them, and they're in a right old state. And I thought, I could put some new gloss on there, bit of undercoat, clean it up, bit of undercoat, stick some gloss on there. Nobody's coming in, nobody's going to step on it, only me. And I could do alternate steps, and over a couple of days, once the next one's a drive, could do them and all that. It would be easy. But of course, I'd have to go to get the paint. I can't go out, so can't do things like that. As Peter Cockrell says, it is house arrest. And while, it's for the good of the nation and all of that, and as they continually said to me, thank you for helping to not spread the virus. Well, who said I had the virus? They didn't want to test me. They didn't even want to test me. They didn't say you can have a test to see whether you've got it or not. Oh, and by the way, the other people in that room haven't got it. They've all since tested negative and there's nothing wrong. Then how come I'm still arrested? It is in that respect, it's frustrating. Whilst I'm carrying out that I'm not leaving the house, it is very odd. Anyway, let's find out who's out there in the land of. The lovely Julia is out there. Very nice to see you, Julia. By the way, the lovely Julia did some shopping for me on Sunday. She came by, and I've had some very interesting conversations with people because the one thing I can do, of course, is I can sit on my doorstep and it faces the road. And the road is about 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet maybe from the door. John Fox can vouch for that because he was there only this evening. I'll mention him a bit more in a minute. And I can have conversations with people outside. There's nothing to stop the public walking past and talking to me. It's only I just can't go and join them on the street. But I can go in my garden. I established that I could go in my garden, although I did actually breach these rules. I did break the law, and I am guilty when there was flooding, and I walked about 6 foot away from my house in order to just make sure that my house wasn't going to be flooded. A number of other houses have had water damage from a burst water main. Luckily, it wasn't me. It was about 3 or 4 houses down from me, so out of my own personal safety, I had to investigate that. But if they want to arrest me because of that, then I'm already arrested. So, lovely Julia, thank you very much for doing my shopping yesterday. It's been very kind. I had a couple of extra things. Talk about that in a minute. Sean O'Brien, hello to you. Daniel Watkins, Lord Geoffrey Harrison, and Station Master's Choice has joined us this evening. Daniel Watkins, nice to see you. Anna Jones, very good. Sean James Cameron, hello to you. We have many other people out there. Dave Ivad, who's wondering who did that fantastic music at the head of the show, which is always good. Kerry Baldwin, I don't think did Kerry Baldwin say she didn't get the show notification this morning? I did a live show on my Bald Explorer channel, and I know that YouTube is notorious for not telling everybody about the notifications. I didn't know I was really going to do it until about an hour before I did it, and then I was thinking, yeah, I could do that. It'll while away the time. So I spent an hour and a half chatting to some lovely people there about all sorts of things. The idea was to try and stick to heritage, landscape and nature, and indeed touring around for the quest of England. But inevitably, we did speak about certain other things, which are in the public domain at the moment. Colonel Craig Ratty is also out there, which is lovely to see you. Thank you for dropping by. Alan Sandell, Joanna Jones. We have Andy the Collector, Steve Barker, who asks, is Alex Belfield on tonight? I don't know who Alex Belfield is, and he's not on tonight. Not in my show. Obviously, I can't have any guests. Even the lovely Julia. She is only here in effigy mode. And she's shrunk. But it's nice to see you, lovely Julia, there. Actually, I just move her out of the way because she's upstaging. Bless her socks. Anna Jones, hello to you as well. And Andrew Norris, it's nice to see you. Henry Agincourt, Ian McCagan, Michael White is here. It's lovely to see you as well. Paul Cockrell, who I mentioned. Tracy Murphy, Ron Langley, Woody Jenny, hello to you. Thank you so much for coming along, keeping me company this evening. Jonathan Fox, he is sat at the back tonight. Jonathan Fox, we'll have another mention in a second. Paul Cockrell, I keep saying, but I've already said him. Elf Wold, lovely to see you. Elaine Whitelock, and many others coming all the time. Ron Langley, I've also said, just looking for some new names. Audrey Forbes, what do they call those things they put on your ankle? Oh, yes, those shackles. Is that what you mean? Shackles? They stick shackles on you, don't they? I'm surprised they haven't put those electronic tags. Perhaps that's what you mean. Terry Banton is also out there. Clive Waterfall, lovely to see you. Thank you for dropping by. Sensible Paul, Jen Coley, Linda Kane, good evening. John B, Glyn Horton, Rich M, and many others. If I haven't said your name, I do apologise. Welshman, Jason Patrick, there we are, the G-Monster. Few more popping in at the same time. So, yeah, I mentioned Jonathan Fox earlier. Jonathan knocked on my door just as I was shaving, actually, about an hour or so ago. I was shaving because I knew I was going to be on the show. No slovenly nature here, no, keep myself busy. No walking about in one's underpants in the Vobes house just because he knows nobody can come in. None of that malarkey. And there was this knock on the door as I was trying to get myself spruced up for tonight's show, because it's amazing how the old beard grows when you're not looking. And he dropped some stuff round. First of all, he shouted from the street. He said, I'm making sure you're still in. I said, yes, I'm not going anywhere, unfortunately. I did think about, growing a big, long wig and a big sort of oily moustache, and getting some sort of hat, and then creeping about the streets and seeing if anybody noticed. But I don't know whether they would know. How would they know whether they've left the house? Mind you, there was a bloke in a car outside the house all day yesterday and pretty much all day today. And I was slightly suspicious that they were guarding to make sure I didn't actually leave. There was a bloke sitting in a car outside my house, which is a bit weird. And I thought, who's more the prisoner then? At least I've got the house to move about in, rather than the poor sap stuck in his car having to pee in a bottle, presumably. I can use better facilities, not the best facilities in the world in this house. It's very basic, my house, but better facilities than the poor sap. But actually, I think he was guarding some digging equipment that the Southern Water had left outside the house after this mains leak. So I don't think he had anything to do with me. Later on, he was pressing buttons on the temporary traffic lights, which they've erected right in front of my house. So now there are traffic system going by with stationary traffic, with people burning what little petrol they've got in their fuels. Ian McCragan says, it's crazy you're locked up, as my neighbour's son had COVID and they were allowed out, but both double jabbed, but they could still get COVID. Yes, I don't think that this is anything to do with being and catching or getting the sending the virus out. I think this is just simply nudge theory. In other words, they have made people who are not vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated, those people who are not vaccinated awkward. You just made it extra awkward so that you think, oh, do you know what? I'll just go and get vaccinated, and then I can carry on with my life. It's that whole coercion. Now, we can talk about that if you like, but I think that's wrong. Anyway, Jonathan Fox, he dumped this by my door. Dry kilned logs, because he knows I'm running out of logs, which is true. I've run out of, not run completely out, I've still got some wood and stuff. And my neighbour gave me some planks from some old decking they didn't want, so I've been chopping that up to get the fire going with. But these are lovely kiln dried logs. Thank you very much, John. That's so kind. He said that's to go in your Essie. I thought it's not going in my coffee. That's very nice. Thank you very much. I get a delivery. My next delivery of logs is on the 13th of November. So I've got to eke everything out a bit. He also got this from Asda. No, sorry, not Asda. Sainsbury's. No, not Sainsbury's. Tesco. No, wait a minute. It's on the tip of my... Is it Lidl? Or it's the other one, isn't it? Aldi. You can take a Baldy to Aldi, and you can have a piddle in Lidl. But at Morrison's, I don't know what you do. Anyway, he said there's some lovely things in here to get your... Hope your evening goes well. One of them I shoved in the fridge because it was a whole load of sausages. And it's always nice to have sausages. So, Jonathan, it's so kind. What have we got in there? First of all, a bottle of wine. A small, lovely one-person bottle of wine. It'd be silly to have a big bottle of wine for one, wouldn't it? You'd just get a little bit slosh. Well, with me, it would probably get a lot of slosh. Also, some licorice. I have to say, I have already attacked the licorice. I love licorice. It's very, very generous of you. What have we got here? Some lovely cheese. Look at that. That's so nice. I do like my cheese. There's a British selection of, it looks like Stilton in the middle, and double Gloucester and something else. Is it a double Gloucester? Doesn't say. Well, it probably does. I just haven't said. Some biscuits to go with the cheese, which is very kind. And some bread, the staff of life. Hadn't had to make any bread this week. So thank you so much. That's so kind. You are a star. People have been kind. Ed Sage, on the very first day of my lockdown, was incredibly generous. He said, I'm passing your house. I'm going to put a bag of stuff on your doorstep, which actually put it on the rear of my property, right down at the end of the mile-long drive. As you know, Vobes Towers in the big Capability Brown estate. That's a good mile from the house, the entrance. And I said, you'll have to wait there, mate. So I ran down, as you do. open the gate. And had a nice conversation with him from my gate. And he bought me some food and bits and bobs. In fact, poor old John said, "Is there anything else you need?" And I said, "No, not really." I said, "Oh, well," and he said, "What?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to ask you to go back, but I do need toilet roll." He said, "No, it's no problem." And he cycled off, and he came promptly back with some toilet roll and some milk. So I've been very well looked after. People are very nice, aren't they? I don't know how other people who do not have a YouTube channel in which to beg, borrow and steal survive, really. Ian Mastraken says, yes, I've read that. It's crazy. John B says, Richard is under surveillance, it would seem. Yeah, not surprised, really. Obviously, I'm public enemy number one. David Vad says, yes, but would a beard suit? Yes, a beard, eh? That's a difficult one. Very good. Stormy Petrel, or Petrel, says David Vad, of which I am clueless to what you mean by that. Linda Kane says they need to employ hundreds of people to check on everyone who's being forced to isolate. As my sister would have said, give us a job. Yes, I mean, how they could keep tabs on people. And I worked out, of course, there must be a traffic light system. I thought about this the other day. I thought it's obviously a traffic light system because, the government, they like their traffic lights, don't they? Red, amber, green. They'll be red for those who tested positive and have had a PCR test and they, deem you to have the Black Death. There'll be those. So they'll be in the red list. They're the ones that definitely can't, not even open the door, do not open your window, do not touch anything. Float around above your bed. In fact, stay in bed and only come out and go to hospital if you're actually dead. That would be the red mob. The amber mob is the one where they're a bit more low level, really, and that I would fit in there. You're an associate of somebody in the red team. You're just an associate. It's like, almost bronze, isn't it, at the Olympics? It's almost hardly worth getting you up on the platform, on the, whatever it is, the thing that they stand on. It's almost hardly worth the effort, them even, well done, you got bronze, who cares? We only want the gold, the silver, well, that's, something, I suppose, but bronze, oh, really? Do we even have to mention his? I mean, unforgettable. Unforgettable. That's what you are. I mean, totally forgettable is what I mean. Not unforgettable. Totally forgettable. Anyway, so that's probably where I am. Very low level. So nobody really cares. I mean, if I sneak out, it's like, oh, well, whatever. He probably hasn't got it. It's not a real thing. But if the people in the red, I mean, they'll be shot at sight. James Bond will be up there. A 00 will be assigned to them just to make sure you don't go out. Whereas it probably wouldn't really matter. They'd probably just slap on the wrist, a bit of a fine, maybe just a limb removed, legs probably. Just, look, we did ask you not to leave. We're just going to take your legs off. Oh! As simple as that. And then if you have to go out again, at least you'll be going at a snail's speed and probably leaving a red trail behind you. So that's that. And then, of course, the green people is everybody else, like everybody watching this who've not yet been caught. And who knows? The green people are not saying that you're all well and dandy. You just might have it. You've just not been caught. They haven't managed to ping you. Somebody said, many people have said to me, don't have the app on my phone. I never had the app. Never had it. Never had it. I didn't agree to it in the first place. A load of old cobblers. To me, why would you put the app on the chance that you're going to get pinged and have yourself in 10 days of isolation? Why would you do that? But people clearly did. Essie, a log burner. The G monster. Essie, I see what you mean. Dave says he could look like one of those people who has a beard made from a swarm of bees. Yes, nobody would. In fact, the best thing to do is to go out the house coughing and spluttering. Nobody would dare come you. Nobody would dare come near you. I'll reorganise the words in the correct order. It makes so much more sense. Dave Forward says, go out. If you get caught, ignore the court summons. The court summons is actually an invitation, not a summons. It is a corporate court that has no lawful authority over you unless you consent to it. Is that a fact? What we need is a solicitor who knows these things. That's interesting, isn't it? It's the court summons is actually an invitation, not a summons. My problem is, of course, I made the fatal mistake of actually telling people. How many people do you think were rung up by them saying, right, okay, you're going to have to isolate for... okay, fair enough. Put the phone down. Just carried on as normal. How many people do you think did... Of course, I made that fatal mistake, made a video and go, oh, by the way, I'm self-isolating. Now I can't go anymore because somebody somewhere will go, oh, that's old Vobes, aren't you supposed to be in? And I bet you after Thursday, when it finishes, this government-mandated imprisonment, on Friday, if I go out, I bet you somebody somewhere will go, yeah, I've just seen that Vobes. He's supposed to be self-isolating. I bet I'll get something. The police will stop me, and then there'll be problems. They'll take me in, and handcuffs will come out, and black eyes, a bit of brutality, and all of that. And then when the policemen are bandaged up and had all their limbs put back together, and they can actually use their ears again, they'll realise, of course, they got the wrong bloke, and the dates were all mixed up. Andy Joy says, if people will leave stuff like that on my doorstep, I will self-isolate for the next month. Well, I think, it would be difficult for me to push my luck. It would be tricky. JF says, Dave Ivad is a decent chap. Yes, John is a very decent chap. All the new workers are coming across the channel. Yeah, they come across, don't they, in their little inflatable dinghies. They don't have to self-isolate, which is a bit strange. It is a bizarre world that we live in which I go about my business trying to entertain people and make videos, but then I'm curtailed as being a reasonably honest human being. And people who are coming in illegally, for whatever reason, are not having to isolate whatsoever. It seems a strange world, doesn't it? Brian Pollard says, watch for an ANPR camera. What's that, like the new GoPro that's come out? GoPro 10? I see they've come out. They're quite sexy looking. I gather that the Osmo Action 2 is on the cards, but I don't know what an ANPR camera is. Could you explain what that is? By the way, you can ring the show 0793 4746 790. Please do ring in and have a chat with me this evening. Be interesting to have a chat with you. I put the poll up there. Do you want more shows? I've sort of got nothing to do really, so I'll try and make a video tomorrow to put out at 6 o'clock. I've just not been inspired. I suppose the old isolation thing got to me. What am I going to do? And I've done a few things around the house, and I just started to think, no, pull yourself out of this. They're not going to beat you down. So tomorrow I'll have something, not sure what, which I shall film in the day, edit in the afternoon, keeps me busy, and then at 6 o'clock it'll go out. But I don't normally do a Vobe show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but this week I might well do it. And Thursday, I think, will be a great day to do one, for it will be countdown to my release. And so maybe we should go until midnight, because apparently 1 minute after midnight, or on the stroke of midnight itself, I assume, 1 second after midnight, whatever it is, I will be a free man. The government-mandated imprisonment will be at an end. And I just wonder, I think they're going to ring me up, but it'd be great if they rang me up live on the show and said, hello, Mr. Vobes, you are now a free man. Well, to be honest, it really was a free man before. I have actually done nothing wrong. There was no trial. I didn't have a chance to put my side of the story in front of anybody. I've been imprisoned for these 10 days at, in a kangaroo court, effectively, which is a bit strange. David Vad says podium smoochum. Oh, is that what the what's the name is? Yes, where they go up. I like the music. It's zany, says Ian McCagan. Good for you. Thank you, Ian. Station Master's Choice says, don't have a smartphone, so how could I get the app anyway? Well, exactly. This is the thing. I did think if I went out the house, I did have this. The first night, I think, in this government-mandated, what's the name? I thought, I could just go out, and then I thought, I wonder if there's face recognition technology. I would leave my phone here because they could probably trace you by my phone, but not if I didn't take the phone. I don't wear any jewellery. The only thing I wear that's not me is ordinary clothes. Well, maybe not ordinary clothes, and my glasses. I don't wear earrings. I don't have my nose pierced. I don't have any lumps of metal inside my body that you could trace, that I know about. I don't have a watch. I don't wear a watch, and the only thing would be my keys, which being a lump of metal that you might, some satellite traces a bit of walking metal, which of course I could actually just leave the door open and go out. And then I thought, face recognition, maybe these cameras that we don't know about, maybe they're all there. So where would it... And I actually worked out a route down to the seafront in which did not go past any traffic lights, because there's cameras at traffic lights, corner shops, or any streets with these phones. And I worked out there would be a route that I could probably get down without actually being spied on. And then even if those remote cameras, maybe they didn't have face recognition technology in those, even if they did. So, I'd have to put like a bag over my head or something. And if it was raining, you could probably get away with it. A bag, a couple of holes in a bag, it'd be all right. That sort of thing. Sensible Paul says, my daughter turned off the app as she works in an estate agent's and would have been continually pinged. Yes, imagine that. They will have Richard on a 59 number plate. Yeah, obviously, I wouldn't go in my van. Not only that, I can't go in the van because there's no bloody diesel. But at the same time, they would... recognise it. Elfwald says, agree to it or not, immigrants aren't illegal. They have no UK citizenship and they haven't entered the country on a passport, so have no legal status within our system. So the system has no authority over them. If they have no legal status, they must be illegal then. And therefore, if they're illegal, we can repel them, can't we? And also, if you're talking about legal stuff, I mean, the Normans, when they came over, nobody was there going, oh, just a moment, can we see your passport, please? Oh, sorry, we were just going to come and invade. Oh, no, I'm ever so sorry. No, we have rules in this country. Now, have you got any photo ID? Oh, I see, yes, it's very like you. You've grown your beard a bit longer since that one was taken. It's a lovely etching, though. Are they your children? Oh, that's nice. Yes. Now, do you have a vaccine passport, vaccine status? Could I see, are you registered with the NHS, are you? I don't know quite what if they're not legal, they must be illegal. They must be outlawed beyond the law. And therefore, if they're beyond the law, surely there is, this is a loophole that can't possibly still be open after all these years. Clive Waterfall says it would have to be a glue that works on underwater if he's going to glue himself to the road outside his house. Well, of course, I could do that, couldn't I? I could glue myself to the outside of my house and protest. I could protest. I could say I'm insulating Britain. I'm actually protesting I don't want to be insulating Britain, and I could glue myself to the house as a piece of insulation and say, look, I don't want to be here. I've glued myself. I am insulated to the house. I protest about it. I don't want to be this and people might go, it's a work of art, isn't it? It's a nice work of art. You're an installation. No, I'm insulation, not installation. I'm Oh, you've missed the bloody point. Which would be quite funny, really. ANP. Oh, yes, here we go. Automatic number plate reader. Because you could just change your number plate, couldn't you? You could just put a different number plate on. Automatic number plate recognition camera. Yes, if you did a different number, then they're easily foxed, aren't they? The G-Monster says people have been invading here for thousands of years. No viruses or borders would stop them. There you go. Just as I was saying about the Normans. Ian McCagan says, I wish to be taken... I wish I had not taken the mickey about locking you in my field for 2 weeks. Well, yes, but at least the ransom was paid. You're now a very rich man, Mr. McCagan. Poor old Julia, who paid the £2,000 that you asked for, she is now destitute, desperate for some income. Elfold says, yes, outlaw, but not illegal. That's why they have immigration amnesties, to get them within the system. Why are they called illegal immigrants then, instead of invaders? Surely then, if they are invaders, we must, if they're coming over and they're not invited, they must be invaders. They're the uninvited. We don't normally allow people to be. Otherwise, if that's a loophole, sure, anybody could come over, couldn't they? Anybody anywhere would just get hold of a boat and just come over at any time. Andy Joy says, sorry, okay, but my feeling is that if British people won't take the jobs, then someone has to. A lot of people think they should be paid more than they are worth. Now, I may have missed the point here. Not quite sure to what that refers. That if British people won't take the jobs, then someone else has to. Are you talking about fruit pickers? And the thing, I don't know now. I don't know where that came from, so I'm probably going to jump to a conclusion that's not what you meant. But I should do my best to carry on with your line of thought, or question it at the very least. So, if you are saying that there's a job, let's say there's a job in the Vobes studio for turning on the lights and warming up the seat and checking the microphone. Let's say that was a job, and I put that out and I said, would somebody like to do that? It's £3 an hour, and you've got to be here all day just checking the lights, tapping the microphone, a bit like Eric's job really, and that's the job. And people said, I don't want to do that for £3 an hour. Are you saying that then it's okay that we can open the doors and let somebody from overseas who does want to do it for £3 an hour to turn on the lights and warm up the seat and tap the microphone? Surely that we have a minimum wage, don't we, in this country? So I'm actually not allowed to advertise a job in which I'm paying somebody only £3 an hour. I don't know what the minimum wage is because I'm not an employer, and I'm barely employed myself. I employ myself, I just don't seem to pay myself. But in that instance, then surely that doesn't work, that we can go, oh, well, I'll get somebody, because isn't that then exploitation? If you get somebody in and they're prepared to do the work for less than what the minimum legal fee payment is, surely that is against the law, is that not? And then that sort of makes a mockery of having the law in the first place. But I may have got that all wrong. You may not have meant that, or you may have been answering somebody else, because we weren't really talking about jobs. But I'm sure these people coming in, they're not here for our jobs, are they? These illegal migrants. The problem. I am the problem. I don't like to accept the responsibility, but I do believe that I am the problem. You see, a lot of these illegal migrants, they've all got mobile phones, and they've all watched this bald bloke walk about Sussex and other counties going, oh, this is a lovely place. Look at this old house and look at this. And they're going, oh, it looks an interesting place, doesn't it? Hang on. All this looks a bit shoddy and not quite so good, and it's a bit third worldy. Let's go over to England, because that bald bloke with glasses, he keeps showing us how lovely the country is. I think we should go over there, and how empty it is. I'm sure it's my fault. And now I may be a bit joking here, but actually we kind of export that wonderful image that this is such a lovely country, and so therefore people want to come. If instead we were all saying, what a terrible tip this is, it's awful, it's like a police if we told the truth, in other words, if we told the truth, maybe these people would think twice about actually coming here and going, yeah, we could cross the English Channel, but to be honest, I've heard that it's not quite such a nice place. They sometimes they lock people up just because they've met somebody else who took a test and got positive things on their test. It sounds a bit weird. So yeah, if we told more the truth, maybe they wouldn't be so inclined to come over. £30 an hour to pick veg is being offered. £30 an hour? Well, I'd be up for that myself. Be working on the land, wouldn't it? Get yourself outside. £30 an hour? My goodness, that's good. No wonder they want to come. That is, Andy Joyce says, oh no, I've read that one. Mark Burgess says, I couldn't find you all through, Richard, although I got depressed and didn't want to bother with Love Show. Glad I'm wrong. I don't remember Love Show. Yeah. Ron Langley, how many more people can this island, England, take? Clearly, a lot more, because they're coming. Michael White says, if they were real immigrants, there would be more women and children, but the majority of them are young men. Yes, and they throw away their identification. If that doesn't sort of make you suspicious, I don't know what will. Andy Joyce says, yeah, Richard, but a lot of people won't do a job for £9 an hour, is what I'm saying. Well, they would if we weren't so easy on them. You know, if we didn't give them any money at all and said, well, there's this job or starvation. In the end, people would do the job, wouldn't they? I understand what you're saying. I think that we have had it easy for a long, long time. Don't we? If we feel like, we don't want to work, a lot of people, you know, I mean, I think just having, I mean, I don't make a lot of money from this, but I just make enough to keep going at the moment. And I do question what I do, because £30 an hour, well, it's that's not nothing to be sniffed at, is it? £30 an hour. It depends how many hours you could do. If you want to do 10 hours, £300, isn't it? Golly, you'd only have to do 1 day a week. I could probably survive on that. Luckily, I don't have a mortgage. I've paid my mortgage off, so I'm fortunate on that front. But then I'm of a certain age, you know. But I know what you mean. I'm not trying to argue against you. I do understand. But of course, I think there are plenty of people. But then we shouldn't be so easy on people and say, well, we'll just give you money to sit at home and do nothing. Sensible says, my daughter's boyfriend has paid £1,000 to get an HGV license, and now they are putting drivers through for free. Oh, your daughter's boyfriend paid £1,000. Yeah, that is sod's law, isn't it? That is one of those awful things that is sod's law. Just at the wrong. I mean, I suppose in desperate times people do desperate things, and the government steps in and says, "Okay, we just need you to do it for free." And you know, there should be a system, if they do that somebody like your daughter's boyfriend should be able to apply and say, wait a minute, you've changed the goalposts. I've stumped up this money because I wanted to make that my career. And if people applied, that they could be compensated, or at least maybe given half of the money back, and say, look, okay, well, we've had to change the law because of this shortage, blah, blah, it's not your fault. But equally, it's not really our fault either, but we desperately needed to do something. What we'll do is we'll give you half the money back. That, I mean, at least that's a gesture of goodwill, isn't it? I mean, nice if you could get all the money back, but we're desperate for the government is desperate to spend our money on lots of other things, isn't it? Like all this green rubbish. Station Master's Choice says £30 an hour is not a sustainable wage level. Eventually, the cost of goods would rise so much that people wouldn't buy them and the staff would be laid off. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, £30 an hour. It depends what the profit is. I mean, obviously, if you're just, I don't know, hoovering the boss's office, depending on who your boss is, the boss of ICI, are they still going? I don't know. But a boss of a big conglomerate country, if they're, you know, they might be able to afford £30 an hour to the cleaner. But if I was paying Eric, you're right up there, Eric? Oh, because I'm isolating. He's taken himself off. Yes, I wouldn't be able to sustain somebody to pay them for very long. You know, at £30 an hour, I expect the whole house, I'd spent 8 hours work done in that 1 hour. And if he couldn't do it, I'd have to lay him off. Andrew Norris says, we have migrants passing through the village. what astonishes me is that they sleep out in the woods in exactly the same place. They must have some GPS tracker that directs them to the location. Oh. 2, he says, and when they arrive in the woods, they are sleeping bags left for them from the previous group. They leave such a mess in the woods too. And that's interesting. I suppose if there was a camp for them, then there would be services to clean away the rubbish. But I guess, where do they put their rubbish? I mean, unfortunately, we humans do leave a trail of detritus behind us, don't we? And we're not helped by the packaging that food comes in. So even if you're trying to wild camp, and people say don't leave any evidence. Was it? I saw somebody. This made me laugh. I was watching a video and they wild camped. And they proudly said, and we've left no evidence that we were here. And I thought, you have? You've just made a video about it. You've just made a video and you've made it public. All the evidence is there. We can see it. They obviously didn't think that one through, did they? But yeah, the packaging, just to open up something and have a gobble of something, suddenly you've got some rubbish. And there's only so much rubbish. And if you're going through a Croatian village and there's no facilities or anything, you're going to end up going, oh, well, whatever, we'll leave it here and move along, and then the next lot can cope, and then the next lot come and go, well, we've got our own rubbish, and so it goes. And so, it's unlike animals, we don't eat our dead, and we don't eat, we've made stuff which is that we leave behind, and half of us can't pick it up and put it in the bin. Half of us can't actually make it to a bin in the first place. Even if we see a bin, we end up, I don't know what's the matter with the human. 3, there is no camp. They are heading on to Europe. Oh, I see. So they're just, yes. So they don't want to stay in Croatia. They want to make their way to another country. And when they get to England, it's not like they then head up to John O'Groats and then go, we're going to go up to Iceland or somewhere. They're not sort of just using us as a stepping stone to another country like they've done all of Europe. They end up here and then we've got lumbered with them. David Vad says 29.95 an hour. I was a green creationist flax whistler for £19 and 4 pence. 19 shillings and 4 pence. I would like to know what a green creationist flax whistler. You did it on purpose to see if I could actually pronounce the word, didn't you? And you did a very good job of it. The attraction of the UK is they can speak some of the language and they know how the culture is from the media. Yeah, exactly, Ray of Hope. It's just what I said. They're watching the Vobes videos, and I realise that I'm making a complete and utter easy job for them. Paul Pockrell says, come and dig up your veg, £20 an hour. Blimey. Ernie says, evening, Richard, Julia, Judith and viewers. Nice to see you there, Ernie. Thanks for coming along. Lots of interesting comments on today's show. I enjoy these debates. I hope you do. Ray of Hope said that. Station Master's Choice. In my whole working life, I have never even got to £9 an hour. I don't want to tell people that when I was entertaining, not that I'm not entertaining now, of course I try to be entertaining all the time, but when I was working as an entertainer, sometimes, not all the time, I would get fees. I shouldn't really say this, but these days are past. I lost an eye and I had to give all this up. But I would get fees of something like £300 for a couple of hours work, so £150 an hour. But it was never, you say that and people go, blimey, that's really good. Sometimes you do an hour at £300 and that was it. But of course, it's not really like that, because often I would have to be in London. I would leave 3 hours beforehand. I would get up to London, waste another hour waiting for the job to happen, or an hour and a half, do my hour, which might be in 2 half-hour sets over a 2-hour period. So you might do something and then wait and then do something else, and you're trapped up there. And then, you know, by the time you get home and what have you, it's another 3 or 4 hours, whatever it is. And so really it's a day. It's although the actual moment that you are doing the skill that you've been trained to do and invested in and spent your life practicing to do this one thing, whether it be mime or robotics or whatever it was, juggling or balancing and whatever it was, that you'd invested time and money to learn how to do all these things as part of, so that you could be employed to do this nonsense. So it always sounded much more than you really were getting. And actually, when you started to work it out, how many times you got employed, or how many times I got employed, on average, over a year, my earnings were much less than somebody who worked in a very basic job. And actually you thought, hang on a minute, I am really no better off. It just sounded more glamorous that I'm going off to do the Danger Show at Park Lane Hotel, and they might pay you 250 quid or something, and you get there and you do your thing and they're all impressed and what have you. But that might be the only job you had for 2 weeks. And so then you were practicing and trying to get more work and other things, or like me, desperately trying to get out of it and do something that was going to be more interesting. So I probably I'm a bit like you, Bernie, probably in the same bracket really, only it just sounded like one earned a lot more money. And of course I had to stop all that when I lost my eye, which was a real shame, although I didn't want to do it. So migrants in France were now being offered a place on boats for around £3,000 to £7,000 by smugglers. The question is, where do the migrants get that sort of money from? And I've always wondered, there seem to be loads of them coming over, and yet they seem to have got all that money. And have they got credit cards? Where is this sub-Saharan bank that they can say, oh, yes, we've got £3,000 of sand. Sorry, no, it's pounds. Yes, we got £3,000. Maybe it's just bags of sand. And the smugglers fall for it every time. Oh, we got the money. Oh, just more sand. Oh, well, sell it off to the sandbag company. Sean James Cameron says, I've lost him. He says, bus routes in London today are being cut short in order to save petrol, according to the bus driver. I'm sure that's just an excuse. There is not a shortage of diesel. I heard a bloke on the radio saying there was no shortage of diesel and petrol. It's just people are panic buying. I think it was in one of the newspapers. I saw them flash up. I don't read newspapers, but I saw it flash up, and there was a woman filling a plastic bag with petrol. That is a face palm moment, isn't it? Andy Joy says, tell the French we will charge them 1 million per illegal immigrant. They would make more of an effort to stop them crossing. We can charge them, but they might default on the payment. That's the thing. And then what? You can't really put the French in prison. Ernie says, I rarely say to people exactly what I do, yet let alone how much I earn, for fear that they would judge me. They wouldn't believe me anyway, says Ernie. No, it is. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? People in Britain, I think, very rarely like to talk about how much they earn, unless, of course, they don't earn very much. When you earn a lot, I think people are very cagey about how much you earn. When you don't earn very much, you've got nothing to lose, have you? I don't actually earn very much, but that's not real. Well, money is only a thing to get what you need, and I don't need very much. I need stuff to invest in my business, which is things like the Board Explorer, and I want to invest in more trips and going places. But actually, luxuries, because I love what I do, the luxury is buying a camera and using it for the job. A tool could be a spanner if I was a car mechanic. But I don't, I mean, I have my van, and I'm very pleased with my van, admittedly, but I don't have flash cars, and do you know there's not one piece of new furniture in my house that was bought new. In fact, there's very little furniture when you think about it. I mean, there's desks and serviceable chairs, but I don't have a sofa. I have an armchair that someone felt very sorry for me and got it from a charity shop, which many people the guests who come, they get this one armchair. That is the one luxury. Julia will vouch for this, and anybody who's been to my house will vouch for it. There's one armchair. I just don't. Now I've even got a mangle. Although I don't actually use the mangle, clearly, to wash my clothes. But even the washing machine was second-hand. And actually, the washing machine I got from a place called Scratch and Dent down the road about 5 or 6 years ago now. It went wrong just within its warranty. And I said, here, it's gone wrong. They fixed it, and it's been fine. And do you know, and it was second-hand then, and I think it's lasted me longer than if I'd bought a brand new one. So... yeah, I don't really. So money is a funny thing. Money is a funny thing. Although, of course, if I had a decent money, I'd love to buy a house like Ernie has, this beautiful old school house with history and a bit of land and all those things. I would love to do that, but I don't have it. And I have to just accept that I haven't got that. And I make the best of what I have got. Try and, make entertainment shows. Ray of Hope says the UN Convention on Immigrants upholds a right to request asylum from the country of your choice. Station Master's Choice says one easy way to tell who has got a lot of money, stand outside a shop with no price tags on their goods and see who goes in. What shop has no price tags on them? I suppose there are shops like that. Michael White says immigration keeps the cost of labour down. Then employers don't have to pay people what they're really worth. Well, we just didn't bother to pay them because we went over to places like China. So we just, we don't bother to pay people what they're worth in this country or anywhere really, because everybody just gets it from elsewhere, and then then you have the guilt. You can go to what's that? Shop that's notorious, probably not now, and I don't want to get slandered, Primark, or shops like it, but I'm not saying that they do this now, but that kind of shop where clothes are incredibly cheap and you think, how can you actually make that garment for the retail cost it is? And it must be being bought from sweatshops or people being paid very low wages in another country. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Primark does, but I'm just using them as an example of a shop in which the garments you buy seem impossible to make in this country, paying people whatever the national minimum wage is. Scratch and Dent, Rosie and Jim, snug and cosy, says Dave and Vivad. Yeah, it's all good stuff. How much one earns is nobody's business except the person concerned and the taxman. I added the taxman, unfortunately, the taxman. Mark Burgess says the shelves behind you, they were new, I thought. Mark Burgess, very clever, very astute man. Yes, they were brand new. I think they cost £98. It's a lot of money, isn't it? Each. That's a business purchase. And will go against tax because it's part of the studio. It's not actually home furnishings. You might think this is home furnishings. If I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't actually furnish my home like that. So, they are part of a set. So, again, it's funny, isn't it? I will buy stuff new for my business because it's my business. And yet for my personal life, I don't seem to put much truck with it. That's because really and truly, I live to work, not I work to live. That's pretty much me. We're coming up to 9 o'clock, in which we switch to our videos, which we have to see, which will be coming up very shortly. So I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Although, of course, nobody's rung in. 07934746790 is the number. Just squeeze a call in if you so wish. I love your house, very homely, says, yes, my house is a working house, really. But then it's only a working house because I'm on my own. If I had a wife, or when I had a wife and children, it was more of a home. But once they left, I just thought, well, and because I don't earn very much, I'm continually on that treadmill to try and get enough money in. So the house has become, and people have seen it in the videos, the house has become the whole house in a way is a set. And when I look at it like that, that's how I would invest in doing it up. I would make it nicer by thinking it's going to be on camera, and therefore is an expense that I can sort of justify in my mind. Richard's studio is very impressive, to be fair, says John B. Thank you very much. Yes, I mean, I had to buy those because I just didn't have anything else, and I needed to do it quickly. And other stuff. This table, you can't see it, but this table here is an old kitchen worktop which I got from across the road at the Woodyard, which is that was about 20 quid, I think, some time ago, as an offcut, and it's on A-frames, cheap old A-frames. And you can see the mess. You can see the mess. Look. There's the computer. Another A-frame. Bushboard. That's what that is. So these microphones here, these were new because I thought the old microphones just didn't look very nice. These microphones are new, invested in the show. I am dreadful. I buy the stuff new for the show. This tank top was commissioned by Mary Hammond, and I wear this mainly. I mean, I do wear them as well, but because I'm always filming myself, it was bought as a costume, really, I suppose. The shirt was from a charity shop. Tend to buy all my shirts from a charity shop. The only thing I do buy brand new generally would be jeans. I'm not very happy about buying jeans from a charity shop. But shirts and jumpers, I buy. Pants and socks are brand new. Mark Burgess says, do you envisage dating in years to come, or is that unlikely? I don't envisage dating. I'm not really very good at that. If the right person comes at the right person, if the right person comes at the right time, then, but that right, I couldn't. Could you imagine me going on a date with an unknown, going on one of these Match.com websites type thing, and going, hello, my name's Richard Vobes, and I'm a YouTuber. I cannot imagine the scenario in which that would happen. It would be somebody who either stumbles across me through this, or gets to know me very well in life and understands who I am, because I've got too much baggage for anyone to cope with. They would have to be an incredibly understanding person, and I think most women would be very what's the word? Not scared off, but they'd be put off by my workaholic nature. But it's an interesting question. Ron Langley says, Richard, you do not have to explain yourself. We believe you. Oh, jolly good. David Vad says, I could imagine you eating a date. Oh, yes. I do like dates. Dates at Christmas time. Very nice. Anne Wrong says, nothing wrong with charity shops, bargains and recycling. Absolutely. You might end up with an heiress, says Michael White. You never know. Depends what, if it's an heiress or hairless. No need to justify. We know you're frugal, says Brian Pollard. My dad was frugal. I find it very hard to spend money, mainly because I've never had any money, I suppose. And so when you've got it, it's like just don't. Who was it? I was just saying to the other day. I was saying often when in the supermarket, if I'm in the supermarket and you see things and you think, oh, that's nice, and then I just automatically say to myself, but can I do without that? And I go, oh yes, of course I can. I can do without that. So I don't buy it. I just buy the basics. I know it sounds very sad and lonely and what have you, but actually, don't think of it like that. I'm actually very happy about that. I'm actually much happier living in the way that I want to live. And I think people misunderstand when people appear to not be like everybody else, and they think, oh, he must be sad, he must be lonely, it must be, and actually that's not the case at all. And I'm aware that when I talk about these things, I think people then go, oh golly, poor old Richard, or something like that goes through their head, or they think, what a twit. And probably what a twit is probably the better thing. But I'm much happier. I feel more me than buying stuff and then feeling either guilty or a fraud or something like that. So there we go. Anyway, that's me. So that's why I don't think many women would understand me or would want that kind of life. And but that doesn't. I'm not so worried about that. It doesn't really concern. I'm thinking about the next sodding video. Somebody asked me, was it Sean? I think it was Sean in the Bald Explorer show. I'll get onto the videos in a minute. Somebody asked me about, would I use this time to go through, best videos that I've made or a compilation of best walks that I've ever done. And I said to him, not really into looking back. I'm often just thinking, I've finished the Suffolk videos, done the Sunday chat, I've got these. I'm always looking forward to the next video. I don't want to delve about in the old archive and look back and try and do stuff. I'm much rather interested in going, right, okay, what can we do now? What's new? What's exciting? Where's the next project? That's me. Ray of Hope says, sorry, 2,800,000 into the UK, 10% of the EU number. Not quite sure what that's about, but there we go. I love Fergal, whoever Fergal is. Ray of Hope says, in 2020, there were 2 million immigrants in the EU and 28,000 into the UK. Thus, the UK is getting less per head of population than the EU countries. How does that work out in terms of space? I mean, somewhere like France is much, much bigger than the UK, isn't it? We've got a lot of people per square mile. How does that work out per square mile? I'd be interested because we have limited space here. Right, I think we better get on to the videos. So thank you very much for that. What a scintillating conversation. 84% of you say in our little poll. We've had 93 votes. Thank you very much for that. Would you like more shows this week? 84% said yes and 16% said no. So I thought I would do a show up until Thursday every day. There's a vague possibility that once I've got my freedom, that I might, if the weather is nice, I don't know that it will be, I might just go off in my van to escape and to celebrate on my own. And I could take, I could take that bottle of wine that John Fox brought me, but maybe getting drunk or being under the influence of alcohol in a van that I could drive is not advisable because I could get done by the police. I don't know whether you're allowed to be drunk in the back of a van. Probably. I know you're not allowed to be drunk in a car if you still have the possession of the keys. I think that's an illegal. It means you can still be done for drunk driving. I think. Not sure. So, but anyway, I may disappear on Friday just to celebrate it if it's nice, because I would have been in this house now for these 10 days. Anyway, so we'll go into the video box, shall we? So, in no particular order, as I've stacked them on my list here, Bonnie has sent in a video of stone balancing, I think at the Chelsea Flower Show. Let's have a look.
But it's Jurassic anyway.
So does it take a particular kind of stone? Do you identify the stone and then try and balance it, or can any stone
I'm
be
just
balanced?
interested in shapes, actually. Trying to balance in such a way that it looks improbable, and then it'll have a little bit of magic about it.
Yeah.
It did look improbable before. It looked like it had a rod up through it.
So how stable are they in the wind?
Well, balanced one's not stable, so I fixed them so people can have them at home.
So in terms of garden sculptures, then it's you have to come around every other day and rebalance.
Well, yeah, that would happen, yeah. There we go.
Oh my God.
Well done.
Wow.
No, that's a quick one.
Wow. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Well, how about that? How about that? Bit of stone balancing. I suppose I hadn't really seen anyone do it, so I suppose it just takes that bit of time of slow, subtle movement to get the actual point of balance. Only a few people can do that, to be fair, says John B. That was pretty good. Thanks very much, Bonnie, for sending that in. That was lovely. Bernie has been out to Siddlescombe, and just before we show that, Rich has just alerted me, says, you have to be on a site to drink in the van. A mate of mine lost his licence when sleeping in his van in a car park after he'd played in a gig. I thought there was, something a bit dodgy about it, and I don't really drink very frequently. I had a beer, as you saw on the show the other night, and that wine that John has sent in will probably stay with me for some time before I get round to it, and then I will really enjoy it. But it won't be like, oh yeah, I must just do it just because I'm having an isolation thing. As I'm sure many people will have turned to the bottle. It's to me it's an absolute luxury to have something like that, and not necessarily needs to be a special occasion. It'll just be a moment when, it might be 3 months' time from now, and I'll think, actually, I will really enjoy it now. And it might not be a special moment or anything. It might just be, and that's how I deal with that. Bernie is in Siddlescombe. Let's find out what Bernie is up to. Thank you very much, Bernie, for putting that together. It is. I noticed the comments there, and I believe that is the music that they used for Out of Town, which is strange because it was a very English type of program, and yet that was very much like a Spanish piece of music. I wonder why they originally used that, or is that me not misunderstanding a bit of English heritage? But anyway, thank you very much, Bernie. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Nice to see Siddlescombe, which I must go back to. Maybe I will with this petrol scare. So I need to go somewhere close because I don't have a lot of diesel in the van. And if the HGV forecourts are still full up, do keep me abreast of that as we go through the week. I should be doing a show tomorrow night, same time, same place. And let's keep abreast of whether there are more outlets and whether people are still panic buying. It'd be interesting to know that. Hazel Burgess is in this one with Mark. Now, Mark sent me a number of videos. They're all quite long, and you need to make them shorter, really, for the show. And I said I would probably cut this off after about 4 minutes. I don't mean to be mean, but we've got another video to get in, and they can, like 8 or 9 minutes is really far too long. But I'll certainly give this a good stab. So this is Hazel and Mark Burgess out in the countryside picking sloes.
Done it. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. This is a bag of sloes we've just picked, myself and my brother, not far from the train, and we've also seen a train today. Not in glorious sunshine like it was this morning, but it's a bit cloudy, but we've just heard an aeroplane go over. We're on our way. We're on our way home, or on the way to the paper shop, and then on our way home. Once we've navigated this pathway with where the slows are, but we'll get there eventually. And there's some red berries coming up. I don't know what berries they are exactly, but they look very like what the birds like. And my dear brother has just found some more sloes, of which I can't believe. Oh my word. And another dratted car. Ugh. Not when you're trying to do this. I've sealed it up to stop them so we don't lose them. God. My brother will be making 2 bottles of sloe gin at this rate. Not just 1, be 2. Ready for Christmas, if it's ready. I don't know though. What's the last one that you did ready? I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, it was. I wasn't sure. But nice red berries. They look like what we used to have out the front, in the front garden. Or are they? I don't know. Yeah. Weird. But they don't look... Hang on, there's my hand in the way. Hang on. Let me swap my hand over. There you go. Taking a picture or recording of these red berries, but we're not quite sure what they are. Or whether... Are they crab apples?
No.
No?
Hawthorn, maybe?
Might be. Not sure. Don't know. I've seen them before. I know I've definitely seen them before. Oh my god. It's been bramble with blackberries on. We just ran into the blackberries. Oh, blackberries. Some decent ones as well. Oh, well, that's alright then. There you go. In the bag with the rest. These dratted cars disturbing the recording. Naughty cars. We're going to have a right, we're going to have a right mix in there. Blackberries and slows. They're vicious though. They freaking grab hold of you.
So there we go. That was Hazel being assisted by Mark out there. I think they were haws, weren't they? HAWs. Well, they were hawthorn, the berries from, or the fruit, maybe one should say, of a hawthorn. Is what I thought, but could be wrong. But thank you very much. Lovely to see that. Yeah, great camera work with a hand there. But we all make these mistakes, all good fun. And finally, David Keel has sent in a video. Now, we've got 4 parts to... I think there's 4 parts. I've got 3 of them, actually, David, if you're watching. I don't know whether it's in 3 or 4 parts. But I've certainly got 3. But we're going to play part 1 tonight, and then we'll play the other parts, the other nights as we go. It's called A Day Out. So thank you, David. Let's have a little look at that.
Hi everyone, I'm just in Bognor Regis, where I live, on my way. I'm going for a day out to go and get some petrol. Just going for a cup of tea first over there. I've just come down Church Lane in Huntston, and I've seen this lovely pond here. Oh, so tranquil. It's really good having stabilisation on the phone. I haven't been here for a few years actually. There's a nice tree. Yeah, I might just have a look at that church over there. It's so nice and peaceful just here. You could you could almost stand here with a coffee and just stare at that lovely view. Ah, it's so great. I'll just see if it's open. I just spotted this place off the main road. I'm heading towards Chidham. I know Richard made a video there once. So just over there is the church at Bosun. Somewhere over there. Sorry, I can't even see my finger. Yeah, my phone, there's a big reflection on my phone. This one's coming towards me. I've got no food. I'm at the far end of Chidham, and this is a really nice path. I've never walked down it. What I mean is, it looks like the kind of path I'd like to walk down. There's someone walking towards me, and there's lots of boats in the harbour over there somewhere. So. And that's the road that goes back to the village in Chidham. I'm at the petrol station. I'm actually getting diesel. 134.9. That's about 2 pence a litre cheaper. So if you times that by 60, that's, I've saved £1.20. I know I'm driving about 30 miles to get here, but yeah, I'm having a day out. Right, I'll go and pay now. It's about £73. So I'm going to head towards Lavant, and then I'm going to go up by Goodwood on the way back down to Bognor Regis.
And there we go. We leave David there, ready for the next episode. Thank you very much, David, for sending that in. I'm always stunned now when I see phone footage that is more stable than DSLR cameras, and you know, GoPro standard of stabilization. And it's remarkable that a mobile phone can, you know, I know you pay quite a lot for a mobile phone as well, I suppose, but fantastic. No fuel shortage there, says Station Master's Choice. I'm guessing that was filmed before they decided they'd put the prices up. I think some of them have put the prices up as well, so they can make much money out of it. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Great quality video, says John B. Thank you very much for your video contributions. If you would like to contribute for our... it's quite nice. I'm enjoying doing the video... the shows in which we spend an hour having a debate about something in a chinwag, especially as I'm on my own currently, and then putting the videos at the end so they sort of have a nice little space where we can look at those, rather than stopping the flow of conversation. We didn't get very many or any phone calls on tonight's show, but it's nice having the phone calls as well. But never mind. We'll wrap it up there, I think. I did a show earlier and no need to go on and on and on. So I will come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and I'm hoping that I'll have a video on the Bald Explorer channel. I've had nothing prepared, but I'm going to try and film something in the daytime and edit it up and then release it at 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not sure what it's going to be about. I've got to think of something. But that will keep me busy tomorrow, which is good. And... but I'll be back again tomorrow night to do another Vobe show, seeing as I've closed the poll down now, so that's all done. If you have something burning that you want to talk about, then we can talk about it on the show. I'd be only too thrilled to take what's on your mind, unless there's something in the news. Do keep an eye on the forecourts for me. I can't get out to go and have a look, but I do want to fill up the van when I can, but I don't want to be one of these people queuing or indeed panic buying. I certainly don't want to do that. Anyway, thank you so much. Thanks to Bonnie for the stone balancing, Bernie for the trip round Saddlescombe, Hazel and Mark Burgess for the picking slows, and David Keel for the first part of your day out, filling up with diesel. And to everybody there who's contributed, and Julia and Judith for moderating, thank you so much. And I will be back again tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Have a good evening. I'm going to make myself a nice cup of tea, and I think slowly mosey on to bed for me. I hope you have a good evening, whatever else you're doing. Look after yourself. Thanks again. Till next time. Bye-bye.